The Arctic Cold War has just turned hot. Donald Trump's shocking territorial claims over Greenland and Canada aren't just diplomatic blunders, they're the opening moves in what military experts are calling the battle for the Arctic corridor. Behind closed doors, NATO commanders are scrambling as America seems willing to violate the sovereignty of its own allies. Meanwhile, Russia has already deployed 11 nuclear submarines, 26 warships, and established 50 military bases across the region, positioning missiles that can reach Mach 9 and bypass all Western defenses. What you're witnessing isn't just rhetoric, it's the beginning of a military standoff that could fracture NATO from within. Denmark is now rushing $2.1 billion in emergency Arctic defense upgrades, while mysterious sabotage operations are targeting crucial undersea cables. This isn't just about land grabs, it's about who controls the Arctic missile corridor between Moscow and Washington, the vital Giyuk Gap choke point, and trillions in resources that could determine who wins Cold War 2.0. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the classified strategic calculations behind these moves, how Russia might exploit the growing cracks in Western unity, and why military commanders believe the next major global confrontation won't start in Ukraine or Taiwan, but in the melting ice of the high north. Greenland's strategic value, which had increased markedly during World War II, then soared again during the Cold War, as it sits in the middle of Washington, D.C. and Moscow at the heart of the Arctic Missile Corridor. The Pawtucket Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base, remains critical for U.S. missile defense, providing early warning radar, satellite tracking, and Arctic surveillance, and is also integral to the U.S. Space Force's operations. But Greenland's importance extends far beyond space and missile defense. It is a crucial component in transatlantic security, positioned at the Greenland Iceland-UK (GIUK) gap, a vital naval choke point connecting the Arctic to the North Atlantic. Historically, control of the gap has been crucial. Britain occupied Iceland in World War II to prevent German exploitation, and NATO reinforced it during the Cold War with the SOSUS sonar network to track Soviet submarines. Today, Greenland remains a key hub for monitoring Russian naval movements. The North Atlantic is the backbone of the Euro-American alliance, handling nearly 30% of global trade and hosting undersea cables responsible for 99% of transatlantic data traffic, supporting trillions of dollars in financial transactions daily. A disruption here would be catastrophic for global markets, underscoring how crucial this whacking great chunk of frozen island really is. Another crucial piece of Arctic archipelago real estate is Svalbard. Sitting between the Barents Sea and the North Atlantic, overlooking vital sea routes, its unique legal status makes it a strategic hotspot. Although it's officially Norwegian territory under the 1920 Svalbard Treaty, Russia has the legal right to exploit resources and conduct research, giving it a foothold inside NATO territory. As Moscow fortifies its Arctic stronghold, Svalbard remains crucial in its strategy to secure Arctic dominance and project power into the North Atlantic. Its location is critical to Russia's bastion defense, providing a key link between the Kola Peninsula, the Norwegian Sea, and the GIUK gap. Under the bastion defense strategy, Russia secures its Arctic buffer zone from the Kola Peninsula through the Norwegian Sea to the Greenland Iceland-UK gap, pushing threats further into the Atlantic. In fact, Moscow is heavily investing in Arctic expansion, reviving 50 Soviet-era bases and fortifying key installations like the Arctic Trefoil Base on Franz Josef Land, capable of housing 150 troops in -40 degrees Celsius conditions. Additional reinforcements, including Northern Clover on Kotelny Island and new airstrips in Franz Josef Land, further cement Russia's Arctic presence. Russia's Arctic military power is nothing to be sniffed at, with 11 nuclear-armed submarines, including 8 stationed in the Arctic, forming the backbone of its global nuclear strategy. Its northern fleet boasts 26 submarines, 10 large surface ships, and long-range bombers, supported by advanced air defense and anti-access area denial A2AD systems. Russia also outclasses the U.S. in Arctic mobility, operating 7 nuclear-powered and 30 diesel-powered icebreakers, while the U.S. has just 2 functional icebreakers. Its cutting-edge Belgorod-class submarines can deploy Poseidon, a stealth nuclear torpedo designed to travel along the seafloor undetected. Meanwhile, Russia's Zircon hypersonic missiles, capable of reaching Mach 9, are designed to bypass NATO defenses, causing further headaches for NATO HQ. Russia isn't just building up military assets in the Arctic, it's expanding intelligence operations against NATO. Moscow has already jammed GPS signals and launched cyber attacks in the high north, but Svalbard's undersea infrastructure is especially at risk. In January 2022, A fiber optic cable linking Longyearbyen to mainland Norway was mysteriously cut, an incident attributed to human activity. This same cable also connects a vital satellite ground station, giving Svalbard a unique role in Arctic surveillance. Then, in January 2025, Norwegian police seized the Russian crude Silverdanya in Tromsø, suspected of damaging a Baltic fiber optic cable, the second Russian vessel detained amid growing sabotage fears. This is now the second ship seized in such an investigation, with Swedish authorities seizing the Maltese-registered Vision in 2024. The seizures follow a 2023 Scandinavian investigation uncovered a Kremlin-linked fleet mapping undersea infrastructure, possibly targeting communication cables and wind farms. In response, NATO launched the Baltic Sentry mission on January 14th, while the EU pledged to enhance undersea defenses. Finland also detained an oil tanker after a December 2024 power link disruption to Estonia. As tensions rise, Arctic nations are scrambling to protect their infrastructure before the next strike. And it's not just Russia, China's also been getting involved, taking advantage of a loophole in the 1920 Svalbard Treaty to set up dual-purpose research centers in the Arctic. Sure, they say it's all about science, but there's definitely a strategic angle here too. Their Yellow River Station in Ny-Ålesund, set up in 2003, is a key part of China's Arctic game plan. Fast forward to 2023, and they've ramped things up, dropping acoustic buoys in the North Sea and sending 3 icebreakers, including the high-tech Shuilong 2, into the region. And that's just the beginning of Beijing's grand plans for reshaping Arctic trade routes. The Arctic is warming nearly 4 times faster than the global average, accelerating the opening of the Northwest Passage, a new trade route linking the Atlantic and Pacific. By 2040, the passage is expected to be ice-free for most summers, providing a faster alternative to the Panama and Suez canals. A voyage from Shanghai to Rotterdam via the Northwest Passage is up to 30% shorter, cutting travel distances by 7,000 kilometers, 4,300 miles, and reducing transit times by 10 to 15 days. Shipping activity is already increasing, with the number of unique ships navigating the route rising 44% between 2013 and 2019. Beijing's Ice Silk Road strategy, developed in partnership with Russia, aims to control Arctic trade. Russia already dominates the region, owning 40% of the Arctic coastline and investing heavily in energy projects like the Yamal LNG plant and Payaka oil field with China's backing. Major ports, including Zarubino and Arkhangelsk, are being developed to connect Russia's Arctic to global markets. Denmark has actively blocked Chinese investment in Greenland, citing national security risks. In 2018, when a Chinese state-owned company bid to build airports in Nuuk, Ilulissat, and Qaqortoq, Denmark stepped in to finance the projects, shutting China out. Yet, the Arctic power struggle is far from over. Icebreakers are key to Arctic trade. Despite warming temperatures, navigating pack ice remains essential. Russia dominates with 40 icebreakers, including nuclear-powered vessels, while the US has only 2. This imbalance makes Russia the gatekeeper of the Northern Sea route. To counter this, the US plans to build 6 new icebreakers by the 2030s to strengthen its Arctic presence. Canada also claims the Northwest Passage as internal waters, while the US and others argue it is an international strait. If Washington controlled both ends, Alaska in the west and Greenland in the east, it could dictate trade, military movements, and energy transport while sidelining Canada's sovereignty claims. In addition to military bases and trade routes, the Arctic is a goldmine of untapped resources, holding an estimated 22% of the world's undiscovered oil and gas reserves, about 412 billion barrels of oil equivalent, according to a 2008 U.S. Geological Survey assessment. Around 78% of these resources are expected to be natural gas and natural gas liquids, with key deposits concentrated in Russia's West Siberian and East Barents basins, which alone account for 47% of total undiscovered reserves. But the Arctic isn't just about hydrocarbons. It's also rich in critical minerals, and Greenland is at the center of the action. With 38.5 million tons of rare earth oxides, Greenland could reshape the global supply of materials essential for batteries, wind turbines, electric vehicles, and defense systems. The challenge? China controls 60% of global rare earth production and nearly 90% of refining capacity, giving it a near monopoly over supply chains. For the US and its allies, securing Greenland's resources is about breaking China's grip on critical materials and shifting the balance in this new Cold War. Greenland's deposits are already drawing major interest. The Kvanefjeld mine holds 11 million tons of rare earths, including neodymium and praseodymium, key for EV motors and wind turbines. However, China's Shanghai Resources is its largest shareholder, sparking concerns over Beijing's growing influence. A 2021 uranium mining ban has also stalled development. Meanwhile, the Greenland deposit is even larger, with 28.2 million tons of rare earth oxides, including zirconium and hafnium, vital for aerospace and nuclear reactors. Developing these resources won't be cheap. Costs are estimated at $500 million. Greenland's resources are crucial to Western energy security, with rare earth demand projected to rise 400% by 2040. However, as long as China dominates refining, even these deposits, like California's Mountain Pass mine, may still end up in Beijing's hands for processing. Until the US develops its own refining capacity, Greenland's rare earth wealth alone won't break China's hold on the supply chain. So, the Arctic is becoming a multi-vectored battleground, with alliances and rivalries having the potential to suddenly shift. Russia is expanding its military presence. The US is eyeing Greenland, and China is leveraging Arctic trade routes, which in turn is disorientating European Arctic nations. Now unsure of American loyalties, Denmark is investing $2.1 billion in defense upgrades, including new ships, drones, and sled teams.
A step up in Europe, we need a stronger and a more resolute Europe, standing increasingly in its own right, capable of defending and promoting Europe and the European interests.
Beefing up its presence in the now disputed Greenland. When U.S. Secretary of State William Henry Seward helped the U.S. buy Alaska from Russia in 1867, it was mocked as Seward's folly. Decades later, Alaska was seen as a linchpin of U.S. national security during the Pacific War against Japan and during the Cold War against the USSR. And the interesting part is the Arctic has only gotten more important since, and its importance is set to rise even further this century. Did Seward, who also suggested the U.S. get its hands on Greenland and Iceland after grabbing Alaska, foresee the current geopolitical chess match in the frozen north? So what do you guys think? Is the Arctic the key battleground of the 21st century? Or is it overhyped? Let us know in the comments below.